agencies from every county in Southwest Florida working to keep dangerous drugs away.
When you take guns and drugs off the streets, you save lives.
The collaboration across county lines to dismantle a drug trafficking ring, taking all of this off of our streets.
Plus, the actual plans to redevelop Moss Marina on Fort Myers Beach. Why Marina owners hope to make the marina more resilient for the next storm and more fun for Southwest Florida.
Tornadoes tearing through towns, planes flipped over after a week of wild weather in Florida. This video with your weekend forecast now on Fox 4 News at 10.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 10.
Drugs, money, and cars all taken away from Southwest Florida streets during a months-long investigation, which is called All in the Family. Thanks for joining us here on this Friday night for Fox 4 News at 10. I'm Chris Earle.
And I'm Nadine Yanis. A lot of collaboration across county lines for this one. The state's attorney's office says that the evidence has now led to 24 people facing charges in this drug operation, many of those suspects from Lee County.
Fox 4's Caitlin Knapp joins us live from our newsroom. And Caitlin, you've gone through all the documentation on this. This is also the third operation for the Net Force Task Force solely targeting right here in Southwest Florida.
Yeah, and since this task force was started back in 2020, State Attorney Amira Fox says that they have taken so much fentanyl off the streets that potentially could have killed more than 2 million people. For this particular investigation, though, they took more than fentanyl out of the community.
We have disrupted the flow of drugs not only into Collier County, but into Southwest Florida.
Collier County, where Operation All in the Family started. It's part of the Net Force Task Force, tackling organized crime, drugs, racketeering, and money laundering.
The investigation led law enforcement into Lee County, into Fort Myers, Lehigh Acres, and Cape Coral.
Some of the many areas where State Attorney Amira Fox says these 24 people were arrested around Fort Myers, Lehigh Acres, Cape Coral, and other places. All arrested for a range of charges such as trafficking and selling these drugs.
Narcotics sources of supply were identified as far away as Texas.
Narcotics that multiple law enforcement agencies took off the streets. In total, 160 grams of fentanyl, 4.5 kilos of cocaine, 461 grams of meth, 25 guns, $251,000 in cash, and 2 cars, one with a hidden compartment.
When you take guns and drugs off the streets, you save lives.
According to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, more than 2/3 of overdose deaths involved illicit fentanyl in 2021. A real issue here, as Florida had the second most drug overdose deaths in the U.S.
During the last 3 operations, we have seized, the last 3 Net Force operations, 4,085,000 grams of fentanyl.
Operations aimed at taking these drugs off the streets.
People that are addicted, we need to help. The people that are selling and dealing, we need to incarcerate.
Now, some of these arrests were made as early as this morning, and some photos of those suspects provided by the state attorney's office had blank photos on the piece of paper that they sent to us in an email. So it's not clear if they are going to be making more arrests connected to this particular operation. Reporting live in the newsroom, Caitlin Knapp, Fox 4.
Thank you so much for that update, Caitlin. And looking for the weather. Lots of people looking for the weekend as we look out towards the Tower Camp off of Pine Island in Cape Coral. Clear for now, and we're excited for a great day for tomorrow. We might have pushed through a few of the elements, though, before that.
Yeah, that's right. We do have rain on our way this weekend, particularly Sunday as we bring in certified meteorologist Katie Walls. And we were talking how viewers have mentioned, why does all the bad weather come on the weekends?
It's a great point. We, this time of year, have cold fronts every 4 to 7 days. And like clockwork, it's been almost every single Sunday that we've had a cold front come through, and this weekend will completely stay in line with that. So heads up, Sunday definitely looking like the windier and the wetter of the 2 weekend days. But even by tomorrow night, we're going to be dealing with storms this time tomorrow. But for now, I'm watching yet another swath of storms here in the Gulf of Mexico. But this is round number 4 that has fizzled out, weakened as it works its way towards Southwest Florida. So other than a passing rain shower overnight, not really concerned about what you might be seeing offshore. Of course, we'll continue to track that very closely here over Fox 4 News and Fox 410. But for those of you out right now, conditions shaping up great. It is warm. It is humid. Overnight tonight, clouds gradually clearing out, but then we'll have some fog developing to be expected with the humidity that we have in play. So Saturday morning, foggy spots. Most of the day will be just fine. time, but after 6 p.m., that's when our rain chances start to go up with the risk for some stronger storms. We'll talk more about that in the next 10 minutes.
Thanks a lot, Katie. The U.S. Army ordered an aviation safety stand-down after now 2 deadly helicopter crashes, including one that killed a Cape Coral soldier. The Army has grounded all Army aviators not involved in what it's calling critical missions after 2 separate incidents have killed 12 different soldiers. As we've reported, 2 Blackhawks crashed last month during a training exercise over Fort Campbell, Kentucky. In that, 9 people died, including Cape Coral native 32-year-old Aaron Healy. And the most recent crash was yesterday, when 2 Apache helicopters crashed in midair near Fort Wainwright, Alaska, killing 3 soldiers. And the order's in place until all pilots and crews complete the required training.
We'll take a good look at this man. Southwest Florida Crime Stoppers says he's accused of following a young girl who was waiting at the bus stop in the San Carlos Park area. Crime Stoppers says that this happened yesterday morning on Murcott Drive East. They think he's often in the area for lawn services because he was seen driving a white truck pulling possible lawn equipment, as you see right here. So anyone with information on this man, if you might recognize him, call Crime Stoppers 1-800-780-TIPS.
A former council member in Marco Islands found guilty on serious charges, including fixing an election to stay in power for a Condo association. The Florida Department of Business and Professional Relations says Victor Rios is guilty of 3 different counts of fraud. Investigators say Rios rigged the election to stay as president of the Belize Condominium Association. Marco Island took complaints about a 2019 election from the Condo board with claims that multiple votes were forged. Florida Business Department investigators found cases of multiple ballots. Marco Island says fake ballots also contained personal information like people's names, condo numbers, forced signatures. State officials were able to trace Rios' DNA to the fake ballots. He resigned from the Condo board 3 years ago. He will be out free until sentencing.
In Naples tonight, police say this woman is facing grand theft charges after they say she stole nearly $80,000 from the Fun Time Early Childhood Academy, a preschool there, while she was working as the finance manager. Naples police saying Heather Ortiz took the money in increments between September 2018 and June 2019. They say she used fake PayPal accounts linked to the school's credit cards to send herself cash, and they also say she used the school credit cards for personal purchases as well. She now is required to pay back that money and was sentenced to 13 years of probation.
Leaders of Fort Myers Beach hope to transform one part of the island, the Moss Marina, into an entertainment district. Owners say the plan has been in place for years, but because of Hurricane Ian, it's sped up the timeline. The marina is just west of the Matanzas Pass Bridge, kind of by Nervous Nellies, just west of it. It's been a working fishing marina for years. People who use it regularly hope that anglers and boaters can keep on using it. The marina owner says the only thing that'll change will be the character, with additions like restaurants, hotels, walkways. You can take a look here at the rendering. As he says, new additions mean rebuilding up to current codes would make the area more resilient for the next big storm. And this idea does have some people excited.
We'll come in with all our fish and be like, you know what's even better than catching fish? Like eating fresh fish, you know, take them right over there to the restaurants, get them cooked up.
The marina's owner is asking for opinions on this before an open house on May 15th, where they will present the final renderings. We have a link on our website, fox4now.com, if you want to offer your thoughts. Also in Fort Myers Beach, some of the other cornerstones, especially for retail, coming back. You may have seen the reopening soon sign at the Publix on Estero Boulevard. That's mid-island. A public spokesperson telling Fox 4 they're getting set for a May 25th reopening.
Well, you probably remember those long days without water after Hurricane Ian. Well, now the state is sending $100 million in grants to help improve and fix wastewater systems to the hardest hit communities here in Southwest Florida. So take a look. City of Sanibel receiving more than $32 million for 5 different wastewater projects there. The town of Fort Myers Beach and the city of Cape Coral each getting $10 million, and the city of Fort Myers receiving $2.5 million for 2 projects. Naples, Punta Gorda, Lehigh Acres also getting a portion of that funding. Also, an important deadline is approaching for businesses still needing help after Ian. The Small Business Administration says you have exactly 60 more days to apply for working capital disaster loans. That deadline, June 29th. So small businesses, agriculture co-ops, and even private nonprofits are eligible for this kind of help.
Next week marks National Hurricane Preparedness Week, so don't let this graphic intimidate you. These are the basics, but always very necessary. With the season coming up June 1st, this comes as the next hurricane season, with the Florida Division of Emergency Management now offering tips about being ready for the next big storms. Have that go bag with the items that your whole family will need in case you have to get out and evacuate. Items like medications, cell phone chargers, and water. For the full checklist, go to floridadisaster.org. The city of Sanibel spent this Arbor Day celebrating the native plants that did make it through the storm. Leaders want to get more of them planted at Sanibel, hosting walks on Saturdays to educate people about the vegetation that is native to Sanibel Island. They say it's not just to get the greenery back, but the plants can also protect beach properties from erosion. If you're interested in learning more about what to plant for your backyard, Sanibel leaders say you can stop by City Hall tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., to go on a native plant walk of your own.
Well, still ahead in the next half hour here on Fox 4 News at 10, Florida Republicans just removed a major hurdle for Governor Ron DeSantis as he is expected to run for president. How taking away the resign to run law could help a potential DeSantis campaign.
And also from the Panhandle to the Treasure Coast, Floridians cleaning up after a very active week of weather. Look at some of the damage that many of us here in Southwest Florida were able to avoid this time. Katie.
And we're not done just yet. We have a couple of more rounds of wet weather. Some could be strong and severe. This time tomorrow night, we will have that potential here in Southwest Florida. We'll talk more about that timeline and the threats you could expect next.
This isn't even hurricane season, and my house is going to be underwater if we have a Category 1 hurricane.
Oh, that is the feeling from some Floridians tonight after the state was hit with wild weather this week. We're talking from the Panhandle all the way down to South Florida once again. This is actually flooding yesterday in Fort Pierce, where roads looked more like rivers following heavy rainfall there. Several cars got stuck in the water, sending first responders once again on rescue missions.
And here's a look at some of the cleanup today in the Panhandle after multiple tornadoes hit, including in Liberty County yesterday in Hosford. Just in an EF2 tornado confirmed. Liberty County schools closed up today with those recovery efforts. The state also sending in crews to help take out some of the trees and assess all the damage. The Florida Division of Emergency Management has also sent out 2,000 tarps for people to put onto their roofs. No injuries reported, but one report of a man injured after a lightning strike in Panama City.
Now back to Central Florida, where the severe weather there even hit Brevard County Airport, damaging several planes. At least 2 of the planes, as you can see, flipped because of the windy weather that hit the airport on Merritt Island yesterday. Another plane badly damaged there.
Also today, President Biden approved a major disaster declaration for Broward County following the historic rainfall 2 weeks ago in areas like Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood. We all remember the video from the airport, passengers walking through water with their luggage. This means federal money is now also available for recovery. Federal assistance includes grants for temporary housing and home repairs and low-cost loans to cover the uninsured property losses.
We've also seen reports of inches of hail falling in other parts of Florida, and then crazy lightning strikes in Texas as well. So this is across the nation, Chris.
Axel Tercios with Scripps News takes a closer look.
This isn't something you'd expect to see. Hail blanketing the courtyard at a high school in West Melbourne, Florida. 30 miles west of Tallahassee, officials say a dozen homes were destroyed and about 20 others were damaged near Hosford after a tornado touched down last night. Baseball-sized hail pounded Texas this week. Southwest of Dallas, a man in Dublin captured the scene as hailstones pelted his backyard pool. A passing cow kept moving. 2 brothers in Fort Worth are recovering from a lightning strike. The Cook Children's Medical Center says the boys were playing outside when lightning struck the tree above them. It ricocheted and struck one, causing cardiac arrest, then ricocheted again to strike the second boy. Their mother was about to bring them inside when it happened.
It's a blur. I just remember everybody praying and telling them, Jaden, Isaac, come on, breathe, you gotta wake up.
Also looks like the risk for strong storms will continue throughout the weekend here in Southwest Florida.
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring in certified meteorologist Katie Wall. So interesting to hear the severe weather everywhere else in our state other than here. It has weekend before it got to us, but this weekend could be different.
That's right. We've been really fortunate overall for this week. Most of the concentration of showers and storms that have been severe have been well inland or along the East Coast or in central northern Florida. But for us here in Southwest Florida, we do need to be on guard this time tomorrow night. So tomorrow night between 6 to 10 p.m. That's going to be our time frame to stay weather aware. I always say be prepared, not scared. Just know the potential that we're going to have some scattered showers and storms come through between 6 to 10 p.m. tomorrow evening, and some could be on the stronger side, especially across DeSoto, Sarasota, northern Charlotte. That's where some of those storms have the best potential to pack quite a punch. Likewise, heading into Sunday, while those storms will be moving through in the morning, there could still be some isolated, embedded, stronger storms. Gusty, damaging winds will be our biggest threat. So here's what's going on right now meteorologically. This wave of energy off in the Gulf of Mexico will continue to dwindle down as it works its way toward the coast. This is the 4th wave of energy that we've been watching here since this time last night. So in the last 24 hours, it's the 4th one, and it continues to weaken as it works its way towards us. Could see a passing rain shower overnight. That's not what I'm worried about. It's what hasn't developed just yet that we're anticipating ahead of an approaching cold front. That cold front will provide the dynamics, the energy necessary for a bit more activity here in Southwest Florida. Before tonight, into most of the day tomorrow, conditions will stay quiet. Worst case scenario, we have a couple of rain showers overnight, 20% rain chance, that's about it. So here we go. Tomorrow morning, we'll wake up to some areas of fog right here at 7 a.m., 9 a.m., all of those foggy spots clear out. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid for most of the day. Then as we head toward 3 o'clock, best chance for an isolated shower or storm to develop, Glades, Hendry. And heading into the afternoon period, things overall pretty quiet. By 6 p.m., that's when we're expected to start to monitor what we're expecting to be a mesoscale convective system. Again, it hasn't developed just yet, but models are coming into line with that potential. It's going to be diving out of the Tampa Bay area, heading into Southwest Florida between 6 to 10. So right here at 8:30 p.m., if you have outdoor activities planned, outdoor dinners, just a heads up, you could be chased indoors, dealing with thunderstorms, some of which could be strong. Heavy downpours, frequent lightning, gusty winds, our main concerns, our main hazards for tomorrow evening as these storms come through. And then looking ahead to your Sunday, we'll be tracking that cold front coming in. Very gusty winds picking up on your Sunday, and I think a lot of us right here at daybreak will be waking up to those storms coming in. Now, because of the timing, we won't necessarily have severe weather, but we could have an embedded strong storm. So don't be surprised by a couple of rumbles in the morning on your Sunday. Most of that action expected to be Sunday morning. Our model's really clearing that out quite quickly. So for the afternoon, cold front comes through, winds stay high. Very windy conditions are expected for your Sunday, but clearing skies are anticipated. Lots of sunshine on the way for your Sunday afternoon. As for tomorrow, hot, humid, please mind that heat. We'll be seeing a heat index close to 100 degrees for a lot of us here across Southwest Florida. Best chance for showers and storms arriving in the evening, and then storms likely on Sunday as that cold front comes through. Bit of a respite from the heat on Monday.
Well, with inflation and high interest rates, this next story is a welcomed one. Changes in medical debt reporting could actually help your credit score. So how much debt could actually be removed from your credit report? We'll break it down for you next.
And later on, some are calling it the strongest anti-Semitism law in the U.S. What a new bill that Governor DeSantis signed does to try to protect Jewish communities.
Well, this next story could bring you some relief, because if you are one of the millions of Americans dealing with medical debt tonight, your credit score may soon increase. Yeah, for the better. That is because major credit bureaus have decided to remove medical debt from its credit reports.
Larissa Scott with our Scripps station WFTS in Tampa spoke with financial experts about what this really means moving ahead.
An ambulance ride was, I think, almost $7,000. I was in the ambulance for maybe 15 minutes.
It's estimated that roughly 100 million adults in the U.S. have medical debt, and we've spoken to some of those people over the years.
Because I have to pay so much on this, I'm not sure I'll be able to do this for a year.
Financial experts say a decision by the three major credit bureaus to remove some medical debt from consumer reports is a step in the right direction as medical debt continues to impact consumers.
It destroyed my credit. It made everything really bad. I couldn't open up a bank account.
Earlier this month, the three major credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, released a joint statement saying they've removed medical debt under $500 from consumer credit reports.
Some of these debts under $500 were just tanking credit scores. And with the changes and the removal of debts for medical debts under $500, it does give consumers a boost in their credit scoring models.
This comes after the Biden administration announced last year plans for medical debt reform, and over the past year, credit bureaus have vowed to make other changes too.
The time frame for medical debt to appear on credit reports has changed. It was 180 days. It has increased to 1 year. So that means that you have, as a consumer, more time to work out a payment plan and resolve open medical debt related issues before it actually gets reported.
If you have medical debt that exceeds $500, credit and debt experts suggest working out a payment plan, getting organized by writing down everything you owe, understand your budget so you know how much money you have to lower your debt, and regularly check your credit reports.
Understand what kinds of debt can and is reported on your credit report and how it will impact you.
Still ahead, a bill making its way through the Florida legislature could change how you deal with problematic short-term vacation rentals like an Airbnb or a Vrbo. Why some leaders are skeptical that it will work.
And a new federal rule could make mortgage holders with better credit scores pay more? Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but experts say it is not as bad as it sounds. We'll explain.
It's a great bill for Florida voters.
This bill ain't what democracy looks like.
Clearly split opinions over an election reform bill that now heads off to Governor Ron DeSantis for his signature.
So what is in the bill that could hurt voters and help the governor? As Fox 4 News at 10 continues.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 10.
It is a sweeping elections bill that clears the way for Governor Ron DeSantis to run for president without risk of losing his job as governor. That now headed to his own desk for signature tonight.
And the House gave approval earlier today. As our Capitol reporter Forrest Saunders shows us, state lawmakers are now split on what exactly this policy will do.
It was another fight on the floor as Republicans.
Election reform should be something that we look at every session.
And Democrats.
This bill ain't what democracy looks like.
Sparred over Florida's latest elections bill, a sweeping policy that does a lot. The bill's bulk increases penalties and rules for third-party voter registration groups, which could now face up to $250,000 in fines each year if they don't submit completed registrations within 10 days. Groups also forbidden from retaining personal data of voters they register, and convicted felons or undocumented prohibited from handling ballots. Plus, with state law enforcement arresting about 20 for illegal voting, there's new wording for voter ID cards to make clear having one doesn't mean someone is approved to vote after several cases were dismissed.
It's a great bill for Florida voters.
Republicans backing the bill cheered the changes as ensuring better election integrity.
Confidence amongst Floridians is at an all-time high in the way we conduct our elections, but that doesn't mean that you stop working on it.
But on the floor, Democrats worried the GOP majority was trying to cut access to the polls.
It seems to me and a lot of people to be about power and control and about making things harder for certain people.
The parties also squabbled over new language ensuring a Florida governor can run for president or vice president without needing to resign.
Members, I don't wait for one man. I'm not going to change the law for one man.
Republicans dismiss it's a gift for DeSantis, who has yet to announce any kind of run.
If we can open the door for anybody who's qualified to run, let's let them get out there and get qualified to run, and let's see who the nominee is.
The next step is the governor's, who, as you might think, is likely to sign. At the Capitol, Forrest Saunders, Fox 4.
Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill with the goal, though, to target hate crimes against Jewish communities throughout Florida, signing the strongest anti-Semitism law in the U.S. Earlier this year, someone projected a swastika onto buildings in downtown West Palm Beach. Last June, neighbors in Port Charlotte found anti-Semitic flyers dumped onto their driveways and front yards. Under this new law, the suspects could face felony charges. The governor says messages like these go far beyond free speech issues.
You don't have a right to threaten people. You don't have a right to harass people. You don't have a right to intimidate.
This does have the support of the Anti-Defamation League, which has called attention to more cases of anti-Semitism and hateful rhetoric in Florida. In its annual report, Hate in the Sunshine State, the ADL found Florida had the 4th most hate incidents in the country.
Well, the Florida Senate passed a bill that coastal communities in Southwest Florida should be watching closely. We've seen this debate come up before, particularly Marco Island. Well, this bill would change how they can police problematic short-term vacation rentals.
The bill sponsor calls this a big leap forward, but Chad Mills with our script station WFTS in Tampa explains and reveals why some of the coastal mayors are skeptical.
And it's not just locals. Coastal communities across the state are watching this bill because if it becomes law, it'll have big implications. Out-of-control parties in vacation rentals like Airbnbs and Vurbos.
People want to party not in their neighborhood, but in somebody else's neighborhood.
It's an issue that's plagued many of the state's coastal communities for years, but now,
28 yeas, 10 nays.
After that vote in the state Senate Thursday night, some feel a statewide solution is finally near.
It's not perfect. Nothing up here we do is perfect. We all recognize that.
But Senator Nick DeSigley, who lives near vacation rentals in Indian Rocks Beach, thinks his bill will give local governments tools to police problem rentals by creating a registration process and punishments for rental owners whose renters violate a local government's noise, parking, or trash ordinances.
What tools are you giving us? Because we feel like they're taking away our tools.
But DeSigley's own mayor has a very different take. Indian Rocks Beach Mayor Cookie Kennedy and other coastal leaders have been fighting the bill, arguing that it'll actually restrict their ability to regulate problem rentals, regulations many cities already have in place.
Our residents' voices are being taken away.
As Reddington Beach Mayor David Will explains, the bill will allow communities to restrict a vacation rental's parking and occupancy limit, but only if that rule applies to everyone.
So short-term rental is regulated the same way a residential home would be regulated.
So he and others feel the bill will have the opposite effect and cause more out-of-control parties, more headaches for the people who live next to problematic rentals.
Again, that bill is not law yet. The House version of the bill is still under consideration.
Well, it was also another busy week in the state legislature, as we've been covering over the last few minutes, and there's just 1 week left in session. So tonight, the Florida House just passed a measure to lower the minimum age to buy a rifle in our state from 21 to 18. This change in the gun legislation is now headed to the Senate. Meanwhile, the state Senate did pass an immigration reform bill today that would increase penalties for those knowingly transporting or hiring undocumented migrants. This bill now goes to the House. And then also this week, about 100 drag queens marched to the Capitol to protest bills banning gender dysphoria treatments for minors, limiting government bathrooms to biological sex, and threatening fines or jail time for those allowing kids to watch, quote, adult live performances. And of course, this week, we can't forget Disney filed a lawsuit against Governor Ron DeSantis and the state, alleging that the company was penalized for speaking out against that controversial parental rights and education bill last year.
College tuition, what many parents of a certain age, so my age, know it's coming.
That's right. The Education Data Initiative reports that the average cost of college tuition, including books and supplies in the U.S., now $35,000 a year. You're about to have 2 kids in college,
For
Chris.
1 year, 2 in college for 1 year. Gulp.
Oh, then they say, if you consider student loan interest, the ultimate cost of a 4-year bachelor's degree right now, hard to believe, can exceed $500,000.
But Florida does have this, though. It's called Florida Prepaid. Rebecca Petit with our Scripps station in Tampa, WFTS, goes through what exactly the program is and if it's really worth it.
Florida Prepaid allows parents to lock in future college costs. According to research, a child with even modest college savings is 2.5 times more likely to attend and graduate college than those without.
Who knows how much college tuition is going to be 15, 16, 17 years from now.
Amanda Anderson is saving up for her daughter's college costs. She enrolled in the Florida Prepaid program when her daughter was just 2 years old.
So when she does go off to college or whatever she decides to do, the funds will be there. It'll be paid for.
Though Anderson's daughter won't be heading off to college until 2037, she tells me she's setting her child up for success.
Seeing people struggling with student loans and how much they have to pay in student loans, and the interest rate and how that affects everything moving forward.
Florida Prepaid is the longest running state-backed college savings program in the nation. With a prepaid plan, families are protected from college tuition increases. The younger the child, the cheaper the payments. So the sooner you start saving, the better.
So if you wait, you also aren't locking in today's prices. Our prices remain incredibly affordable. They start at $45 a month. I cannot get in and out of Target for less than $100.
There are 5 tuition-based plans and a dormitory plan to cover housing. You can choose to pay monthly over the course of 5 years or a lump sum.
You really don't have to know what they're ultimately going to do. The plans, again, are built for flexibility. You can use them nationwide. You can use them at trade school. You can use them at private institutions.
She tells me prepaid plans allows families to avoid inflation when it comes to saving for their child's college education.
If it does quadruple and we didn't estimate properly how much it would go up, Florida Prepaid covers the difference. And so we are there to fill in that gap and to manage the cost.
All prepaid plans are guaranteed by the state of Florida, so families will never lose their investment. The deadline to enroll in Florida Prepaid is this Sunday, April 30th.
With a lack of affordable education in the nation, of course, here in Southwest Florida, there's a new federal rule that could make borrowers with higher credit scores pay more for the fees. It's going to start on Monday. So people with a higher credit score in the mid-700s might pay more in those mortgage fees, while people in the mid-600s with the lower score could pay less. And the objective behind this is to boost affordable housing and borrowers with a lower score to be able to get into a home. Under the new rule, first-time home buyers with a credit score between 720 and 760, again, could pay more, but a vast majority of people will see a discount.
It's not as drastic as what people are thinking. The biggest thing you're seeing is that it drops a lot of the cost on those lower scores. So, you know, it might be slightly more expensive in certain scenarios, but it's a very, very minor cost.
This is picking up a lot of attention, though, right now, with some wondering why have a high credit score if it means paying higher mortgage fees.
And Fox 4 is following through on our housing crisis here in Southwest Florida, taking you to Collier County tonight, where the St. Matthews House is building new apartments in its Justin's Village development. So Collier County commissioners actually approved the St. Matthews House to build 28 new apartments in the Justin's Village gated community right there in East Naples. It already houses 11 single-family homes built by the St. Matthews House on 2.3 acres of their land. Now, they're used as transitional homes for those who go through the entire Justin's Recovery Program. It's a year long. And get this, rent will be affordable with those in this village, just paying about $800 a month compared to the average rent right now in Collier County for one bedroom, costing $2,400 a month, according to the CEO.
2.3 acres that we can build out and really create that affordable housing that is so lacking in our community, so needed for our people that want to live and work in Naples and just can't afford it right now.
So the St. Matthews House hopes to raise funding for this project over the next year. It's expected to cost about $4 million, all with the goal to break ground in the summer of 2024.
Ready? Hey! Up! Hey! Hey!
Today, the Lee County Sheriff's Honor Guard, along with family, friends, many others, coming together to honor and celebrate the life of a veteran from North Fort Myers who died last week at age 95.
Yeah, Peter Zess served in World War II with the U.S. Army. His service honored at the Shell Factory this afternoon, as you saw, with a 21-gun salute by the Lee County Sheriff's Office, along with a presentation by the American Legion to Pete's family, who his wife spoke to Fox 4 today.
It's very important to the country to show that we have some really good people in our life and in our country still. And we need a few more of Pete Zesses.
And the family says his final resting place will be right here in Southwest Florida in Charlotte County. Well, coming up, Mattel has released a new Barbie doll with an eye on inclusivity, and the impact this new doll represents is someone with Down syndrome. It's already having such an impact on little kids right here in Florida.
And also, one person who works at a Port Charlotte pizza shop gets global recognition, the bragging rights. Right here, as you see this from Bella Napoli Pizzeria and Restaurants for the ultimate carryout, as in carrying out a big award.
We could have a few rain showers from this wave of energy in the Gulf, but this time tomorrow night, we will be facing the potential for some stronger storms moving through Southwest Florida. We'll take a closer look at the impacts you could experience next.
This week, Mattel announced it's releasing a brand new Barbie that represents someone with Down syndrome. We're seeing the impact of that representation on young people here in Florida.
I never forgot when I got Puerto Rican Barbie when I was little, and it really does make such a difference. So Keely McCormick with our Scripps station WFTX in Tampa shows us how this new Barbie shows that it's proof inclusion matters.
This is for you. Jaw to the floor and a smile from ear to ear. That's how Sophia Sullivan reacted to getting a Barbie that looks just like her. This sweet 6-year-old couldn't let go of the new doll that she referred to as Beautiful Barbie.
Does she look like you? Yeah. What does she have? Blonde hair? But yet she's special like you and unique because she's loved, right? And you're loved.
Sophia's father, Michael Sullivan, tells me it means the world that Sophia can now play with a doll that looks just like her. And of course, every 6-year-old girl wants to say, I look like Barbie. Barbie has represented beauty to young girls for decades. Mattel recognizes the impact of this, and they tell me their goal in releasing this doll is to enable children to see themselves in Barbie. Mattel sent me a statement saying, quote, children's early childhood experiences shape what they imagine to be possible, and it is important that they see themselves reflected in play, end quote. And Sullivan says this will make a world of difference for both Sophia and her friends that also have Down syndrome.
And Barbie is a beauty standard, and when they see a Barbie doll with her Down syndrome, I just see my daughter, and I see that now we're really representing the whole world.
While one doll may not impact everyone, Sullivan tells me it will instill a new level of confidence in Sophia, and that alone means the world.
See how long we can keep the smiles going. Wonderful news tonight for one of the top football players to come out of Southwest Florida in recent years. Lehigh's senior high school alum and Illinois defensive back Jartavius Martin got drafted tonight to Washington in the second round, 47th overall pick. The projections had him going tonight in rounds 2 or 3. So a hearty congratulations to Jartavius Martin and his family for a long-time, hard-fought dream come true. It's a journey that people don't often see, and now we get to see it all pay off. And now take a look at this. Lightning striking SpaceX's launch tower 39A at Kennedy Space Center. Strong storms pushing through last night. In a tweet, SpaceX said the rocket in the tower inspected after the strike said all systems looked good.
Unfortunately, one of the 2 launches were scrubbed today. SpaceX actually planned for 2 launches off our coast right here at Cape Canaveral, with only the Falcon 9 taking off just after 6 p.m., sending satellites into orbit. The Falcon Heavy, though, that launch was scrubbed for the night.
So we still have our good news streak going because at least one of them did get up and it didn't have any major stuff. So for the weather, so we're going to have fog tomorrow morning, what it sounds like. So maybe the good news, we'll see how long it lasts.
Yes, well, I think the good news is that the fog will clear up. We'll have a little bit of sun before the storms come through. See, Katie, we're finding the good news everywhere.
Exactly. Honestly, most of tomorrow should be just fine. It's not until late tomorrow evening, basically after 6 p.m., that I'm concerned for those storms to impact some of our outdoor plans. Live look, though, at nice, quiet conditions here across Cape Coral as we look live from atop the Fox 4 studios here, right on Pine Island Road. And you can see those clouds are clearing out, so mostly clear to partly cloudy skies expected overnight. Temperatures, they are dropping, so we're at 81. Dew point, though, measure of moisture in the air, that is sticky. Higher the dew point goes, the soupier, the heavier the air feels. When you see a dew point in the mid-70s, it's a tropical air mass. We can feel it as soon as you step outside, and right now it's even at this hour contributing to a heat index, causing it to feel more like 87 degrees. Temperatures without the extra heat index right now running, well, today running above average. 70 this morning, up to 92 this afternoon. So overall, we were +4 for the day. Second straight day, another day of above normal temperatures. We've only had 2 days this month below 1 day of average, and we had 4 days of records circled right there on the 4th, 5th, 6th, as well as the 15th. Overall, it does look like we'll be wrapping up the month well above normal as of right now. It's going down as the second hottest April on record, going back to the 1890s. We continue to monitor waves of energy developing in the central Gulf of Mexico, trying to work their way towards Southwest Florida. Like this time last night, though, this wave continues to dwindle down, no longer seeing those lightning strikes. So that's a great sign. It will continue to weaken. It will continue to fizzle out other than a passing, especially where we have picked up rainfall as of late. You do want to be aware of fog developing and possibly impacting travel plans. before 9 a.m. By 12 o'clock, though, lots of sunshine on the way. The breeze starting to pick up. Best chance for a shower or storm right here at 3 p.m. will be in Hendry and Glades. Things are pretty quiet still. It's breezy, it's sunny, it's nice, it's hot, it's humid, all of the above. And then right here at 6 o'clock, this is when we are expecting a convective system, an organized convective system, to be diving from the northwest our direction. So between 6 to 10 p.m., this is the time frame that I need you to please stay weather aware in case this does come to fruition. Hasn't yet, very well might. This model has really been honing in on this potential, and also the Storm Prediction Center as well. So strong to severe storms will be a possibility this time tomorrow evening between 6 to 10 p.m. Heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, gusty winds are primary concern. So just something to keep in mind if you do have outdoor activities planned, just be prepared to pivot and move indoors. Otherwise, we look ahead to Sunday, and wet weather will greet most of us stepping outside early on Sunday morning as the cold front approaches, but most of that wet weather expected to clear out right around lunchtime. And then Sunday afternoon, yes, those clouds will be clearing, but it's going to be very windy, gust upwards of 40 miles per hour expected. For tomorrow, it's going to stay breezy and 92 degrees for a temperature. It's going to be feeling more like 98 with that heat index. Evening storms, my biggest concern for tomorrow. And then for your Sunday, storms likely as that front comes through. Behind that front, low humidity, not as hot for your Monday.
Thanks, Katie. Sometimes a team can really suffer for their pizza. Okay, here's one of these chefs. There's an actual U.S. pizza team. Competing in Parma, Italy this week. Petangelo Riccia of Bella Napoli Pizzeria and Restaurant in Port Charlotte is part of this team that took second place worldwide at the Campionato Mondiale della Pizza competition for the Pan Pizza division. Take a look. This is the one time I wish we had a fancy Zoom where we could just see it right there. The cheese in our face. Highest score also for a U.S.-born chef, so congratulations to Petangelo.
I don't do this often, but if you guys can hear me, please bring some pizza over to the Fox 4 studios. We need to try some of that. Congratulations, guys.
Closing soon. I already looked it up a couple hours ago on my phone. More than 20 people in custody in a months-long operation to take down a major drug trafficking ring throughout Southwest Florida.
And local law enforcement say it was all an effort to save lives, how authorities crossed county lines to work together and catch them all. As Fox 4 News at 11 starts now.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 11.
Drugs, money, and even inside of cars all taken off of Southwest Florida streets during a months-long investigation. Law enforcement is calling All in the Family. Thanks for joining us on this Friday night for Fox 4 News at 11. I'm Chris Earle.
And I'm Nadine Yanis. This was a massive collaboration across county lines here in Southwest Florida. The state attorney's office says the evidence ultimately led to 24 people now facing charges in this drug operation, and many of those are from right here in Lee County.
As Fox 4's Caitlin Knapp reports, this is also the third operation for the net